And welcome to another episode of More Conversations with the Average Black Man. I am Timotheus, and I'm here with my lovely co-host Morphine, and we got our special guest in Mrs. Fields. Yay! And today we are talking about confrontation of the generations, the differences of viewpoints and ideals across the generations. In order for progress to happen, does a certain generation have to die off? For those particular ideals and points of view to come to pass. And we're gonna just go straight on from there. So let me just read a little bit right here what we got going on. The confrontations between the generations can be complex and a nuanced topic. While it is true that older generations may hold onto traditional values and beliefs that can hinder progress, it's not always the case that they prevent change entirely. And let's break down what the generations are. So, from 1922 through 1945 are the traditionalists. Then 1946 through 1964 are the baby boomers. 1965 through 1980s, Generation X. That's me, baby. That's me.
Yeah, 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 Gen
Y'all
X,
old, y'all
baby.
old, y'all are old. All of y'all are old.
Hey, see that Wakanda? That's what that Wakanda is. That's Gen X right there. Wakanda,
Gen
baby.
X, baby.
Then 1981 through 96 are the millennials. Oh, I thought you was gonna hold it up for yourself. Okay.
Right, you
What
ain't gonna make no noise?
You're gonna
for the
make no
millennials?
noise, Caesar?
Yay, the freaking millennials.
And then 97 through 2012 are the Gen Z. Shout out to my kid, my son. And then 2013 through 25, they're getting ready to end. Generation Alpha. Shout out to my babies. Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah, I don't have
So,
no generation alphas. I don't have no alphas. I only got the Gen Zs. That's all I have.
all right, the Gen Z. So, do we need a breakdown of the values of each generation, or we will just jump right into the get down?
No, let's go to the values. Let me get it down since I'm pretty good at this. Here's a brief description of each generation. We're going to go to the traditionalists. Again, the traditionalist is 1922 to 1945. Grew up during a time in economic depression and war. Valuing loyalty, discipline, and hard work. Baby boomers, born during the post-war population boom, characterized by social and political activisms. Again, that's 1946 to 1964. Generation X, marked by independence, self-reliance, and distrust of authority. These are the 1965 to the 1980s, and us millennials, 1981 to 1996, shaped by technology diversity and social media. Generation Z, 1977 to 2012. I'm sorry, grew up in with the internet, smartphones, prioritizing authenticity and substability. Y'all know what I'm trying to say. Anyway, Generation Alpha, the youngest generation, growing up with AI, robotics, and a virtual realities in reality. That is 2020. I mean, that is 2013 and 2025 generation. That is the breakdown of each generation.
All right, all right,
Gen
all right, all
Gen X
right.
is the best.
Gen X, what are we? What did they call us?
We feral. We the best.
It
Y'all
says
can't mess
marked
with
by
us.
independence, self-reliance, and a distrust of authority.
Right. We right. We the latchkey kids. We got a lot of independence and all of that. Right. So
Yeah,
yeah.
y'all told us, you don't need nothing. Say no. Go ahead.
Right. So so there's just a difference, like even in ethics, the traditionalists. the 1921st. They valued hard work, discipline, loyalty. They had an emphasis on respect and the hierarchies of authority. They prioritized stability, and wanted to make sure that they could provide for their families. The baby boomers were raised by them, so they still carried on the focus on hard work and long hours and to achieve success. They valued loyalty and commitment, and commitment to their employer. The baby boomers got a job, and they kept that. They retired from that. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Gen X, us, we prioritize a work life balance. We work hard, play hard. That's us. You know what I mean? We value autonomy and independence. And we got that from being the latchkey kids. Being out riding bikes from sun up to sundown, and whenever moms called your name out the window, when the street lights came on, there we go. When the street lights came on, baby, it was time to go in the house. Self-reliance and resourcefulness. The millennials emphasize purpose and meaning and fulfillment of work life. They value diversity, inclusion, and social responsibility. Gen Zs are more of the entrepreneurship. Everybody want to start a business, you know what I mean? So, and then Gen A are babies right now, or young adults, or well, actually becoming teenagers, not young adults. They're pre-teening it right now, but they're the generation that's grown up with AI, automation, social media, and they value creativity. So with that being said, what I noticed right away is by like looking at all of these differences in the generations that after Gen what after millennials, like work ethics kind of fall off. Like, you know what I mean? Like the traditionalists value hard work and discipline. The baby boomers value hard work and discipline. Gen X prioritize work but still have family balance. But then when it comes to millennials, work became more about I want it to mean something. I want to I want to do something that has purpose. And then after that, Gen Z is like, well, I want to be a boss. I want my own shit. And I don't know. I don't know how to feel about this
What?
because
Go ahead.
the reason I don't know how to feel about this is because the generation I'm from, we were taught like you got to be responsible for yourselves. I come from that generation where a lot of people were getting put out at 18. You know what I mean? It wasn't no staying at home with your mom till you was old and had time to figure out what you wanted to do. It was like, no, figure your plan out for your life in high school.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And which is why a lot of Gen Xers end up going to the military because of that. Like, it was like, okay, I got to figure I'm grown now. We were taught that 18 meant grown,
Mm-hmm.
but in today's times, 18 is still a kid. You know, back in the days, you could be 18 and marry a 40-year-old and nobody have a problem. Now they say, oh, you're a weirdo because that's still a baby. So you know what I mean?
Right. Right. Well,
You know,
I jumped out the call, so I out the shows because I had to go reconnect some things. But what did I miss?
oh, nothing. Just basically what I was just explaining to you right now. Just what I noticed when we were going through all the different generations. But Miss Fields, how you got any input?
I was listening, but then Billy, he came and interrupted me. So I told him to get the heck out. Um, um, so I don't really have nothing yet. I just know Gen X is the best. Um, because I am Gen X, and like you said, we're the latchkey kids. We're the last pharaohs. We left the house at 7 in the morning, and when the street lights came on, we knew to be home. You ride around, and you might get a sandwich because somebody mama went grocery shopping that day, but we drank out the water hose. We did the damn thing. So in comparison to Gen X, like let's say comparison to Gen Alpha, where like now we can't even leave our kids at home. You
Right.
could leave a 9-year-old at home, and they're like, "Oh my God, you left your 9-year-old at home?" And I'm like, "Yeah, what do you mean? He's old enough to not burn my house down." But this day and age has changed. They're a lot more coddled in comparison to our generation, as far as me and Tim go,
Mm-hmm.
where they're a lot more coddled. Because this generation is I'm sorry, generation that I'm talking about, y'all suck.
Is that more like a generation, the millennials, or we're talking more like Generation Z?
I would say, oh, I don't know. I think it's a combination. I really just depend on. I think it depends on who's doing the raising, if that makes sense. Like I
Mm-hmm.
have generation what it was like because William and Ethan, they're 12 and 11, so they're considered generation alpha, right?
Mm-hmm.
But they know how to hunt, they know how to build a fire, they know how to fish. But that's because that's something that we ingrain in them. They know how to garden, they cut the grass, like, so it's something that, because we come from the era that we come from, we make sure that they know how to do those things. Where a lot of the other, like I had one time, I can give you an example. One of the boys' friends was over, and Billy don't care if your friends is over. If it's time to cut grass, it's time to cut grass. And the boy
Mm-hmm.
had never been on a riding lawnmower, so he wanted to try it, And so of course Billy showed him how to do it and whatever, whatever. And he had a blast. But he's not required to do that at home, whether a riding lawnmower or a push lawnmower. So I think again it just kind of also depends on the parents that you have that's instilling the different things into the generation, whether because millennial and the alpha, that I think they're kind of side by side depending on the situation. That's my take.
The millennials and the alphas.
No,
The
no, I don't think she
millennials,
understand. Millennials is morphine. The alphas is Momo.
right?
Okay, so what is William and Ethan?
They're Z.
12 and 11.
They're Z's. They're young Zers.
Okay, so Z's and A's. So yeah, no, not millennial. I stand corrected. But some of y'all millennials are still clueless, but
Let me
not all
see.
of y'all.
Uh, you,
What? Say those.
no, Generation Z is if they were born between the years of 1997 and 2012.
Well,
If they
Okay,
were
yeah.
born,
so the
if they were
boys
born,
were both born after 2012.
they were both born after 2012. Then they're then
Yeah,
they're out. Then they're alphas.
then they're alphas. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But that's what I'm saying. Even though, like, some people will say that, like, AI generate the description that you guys gave, which is more like technology, video games, social media. Well, that's what I grasped out of it. AI. They don't have to go to the library and look up. Go to the get an encyclopedia to look up their homework for their project. They can just go on Google, where like people from back in the days, we'd have to go to the library, go to the catalog, go find a damn book, sit down and read it. But nowadays, because of different technology, they're kind of dumbed down because of the technology. But again, that's where I said that's the only place where I said where it's different for me, because I actually own a set of encyclopedias, for example. I got them on purpose because I don't want my sons to think that just because that technology is available for you as Gen Alpha, now that I know I can call them that, that's the only way that you can access knowledge and information. Um, but yeah, they're not, a lot of them are not that smart. And I'm not trying to be funny when I say that. They're not that smart because they are being dumbed down by technology and AI.
Did you stop talking?
Yeah. No, I stopped talking. I'm sorry. Do I need to land my plane?
No, it just stopped abruptly, and I was like, well, what the heck?
Now y'all know
So,
I say what I say and then I'm done. I don't like to take up nobody's time. But yeah, that was pretty much it as far as like like I said, Gen Alpha. I'm glad y'all broke down the definitions because be honest with you, I just know I'm Gen X. I don't know what nobody else. Just like I don't know nobody else's horoscope. I know mine. That's it.
mhm.
So glad y'all broke that down. But
That's
yeah,
so. I would like to bring up some of the differences in the work ethics in the generations. Did you go through that, Tim? Tim, what you
Br-
bringing up?
briefly, I just found something just to some satire to see what we got going on to see how people talking about the different gens. Let's check it out real quick. It's 50 seconds. Oh wait, maybe
Let go.
Notice you there.
oh my
Bro, where's Gen X? What? Oh, I didn't even notice you there. Per usual. Where have you been? Minding my business. Well, we gotta have work. Oh, do you actually know how to use them in real life? Oh, y'all been too quiet. Y'all been too loud. Because we're trying to change the world. And we're just trying to survive it. Listen. No, you listen, you Cabbage Patch Killjoy. Oh, yes. We were raised on hose water and neglect, TV dinners and dial-up. We're sarcastic cynics who didn't talk about trauma. We just stuffed it down and sucked it up. Well, maybe you shouldn't come for the latchkey kids who grew up with grass stains, told time by the street light, and were built by around and find out. This is great. So if you're coming for us, Stranger Things, you better come correct, because we're just here to kick ass and chew bubblegum. What? And we're all out of bubblegum. Literal chill. Shut up! Now leave me the hell alone. Why are you scared of him? Because the quiet ones are killers. You're the Lulu. And you owe me a popcorn. God, you guys are so cringy.
now hold on. What generation was the dude that made the video? that
right. I
video
was gonna say that's a perfect description of Gen X though. We don't give a damn.
right.
Yeah, we don't give a damn. We done seen more than y'all will ever see. Just in a but hold on, but in a different aspect. So like I can be honest and I can say there are times where let's say there's something going on with my computer or my phone. You know what? 9 times out of 10, my Gen Alpha can figure it out before I can. Now, if we in a moment of fuck around and find out and we need to do some things that we need to do to make sure everybody's straight, then I got the answer. So maybe the Gen Alpha is a lot based on like, social media, social constructs, social, technology, AI. Like my niece, I remember my niece was helping my son with my homework and I kind of went off on her and I said, don't help my son again because she went straight to AI and she really legit read she wrote her whole paper off of AI. She just changed the wording, if that makes sense. Like so I think like it's not a bad thing to have the advanced technology that they do because that's what they've been raised on, but it can become a bad thing if they're not using it correctly, if that makes sense.
Well, the millennials are shaped by the technology and a diversity of social media and shit. So that's our fault. Where the our kids, well, not our kids, because the millennials are having generation alpha kids right now. It just so happened that a lot of you, generation X, are giving birth to alpha kids, which you know how that goes on social media. And I really specifically like that part. But I think that is the way that we communicate with each other, like right now, is really off of millennials. Like we are the start of having multiple of social media conversations and being very social on social media. Let's play this. What is this? What's this, Tim?
Hold on, before he plays it, I just want to point out that what you said is actually really factual. I wouldn't even thought about it until you just said it. The millennials are the ones because you have your Gen X like me and Tim, are your older folks. But we just mind our business. We want to sip, tea in the shade. We want to mow our grass, go to work, leave me the fuck alone, right? And then you have your alphas who are, they're so young, so they're not really making an impact as of yet. But your millennials, again, like you said, y'all are at an age where you have more of a voice and more of a platform, more of a way to express you guys yourselves to try to change something, if that makes sense. That actually made very good sense, Morphine.
Yeah. So, Timothy, what is you doing? I can't play the video, sir.
My bad. I had to deal with my daughter real quick.
We owe Gen X, we owe millennials and Gen Z an apology. Remember when they first entered the workforce and we were calling them lazy and said they didn't want to work? We jumped on that bandwagon with the boomers. They weren't lazy, they were setting boundaries. Millennials out here in these streets saying, no, I will not make myself available while I'm on vacation. No, I will not be available at 2 a.m. No, you cannot reach me by email or text. Get someone else to do it. And these little shits will come back to work and act like nothing had happened. Because guess what? Nothing did happen. We picked up the slack. We got so accustomed to living up to these high expectations set by our parents that when the millennials came along and didn't fulfill the same roles and obligations, we got all in our feelings. And let's be honest, they have no incentive to do so. No pension, no retirement, no 401k, inadequate health care. The list goes on. Gen Xers, we got so accustomed to taking care of ourselves that we forgot to take care of ourselves. And now we're looking at these millennials and Gen Zers, and we're saying that they're okay. Now, I know what some of you are going to say. They all have a safety net. They all moved back home. They're 30 years old living with their parents. You're not entirely wrong. A lot of them did move back home, but not all of them. I have millennial friends who are homeowners, drive nice cars. They take their vacations and take time off whenever they need to. They've never moved back home. Now, I'm not saying go out here and just randomly start quitting your jobs. No. What I am saying is set healthy boundaries and expect those boundaries to be respected. And guess what? If those boundaries aren't respected, you have a lot of experience and work history to do whatever the fuck you want. I worked my same corporate job for 20 years, and then I just quit. And guess what? I've been okay. Started a whole new career. It's not hard. You can do it. Millennials and Gen Z open up a whole new world of possibilities for us. Thank them for it. Gen X, we
He said a lot of good stuff, but he said a lot of stuff that just contradicted because, like what he said, like there's no incentive for them to do. They don't have no pension 401k because you got to work at the job and build that up. if if you keep switching your career, I don't like working here. It's about self-care. I'm gonna find a job that I actually like and I love. You're gonna be switching jobs. You're gonna have your resume 3 miles long, or you worked here for 3 months, you work here for 2 months. An employer would look at that and be like, well, clearly you are not dependable. You know what I mean? Why should I hire you?
I mean, in reality, it's not them switching jobs every 3 months, more like every 3 years and things like that nature. But when you walk into a job, you're not seeing a whole bunch of people that has been there for 20 years, 30 years and things like that. Not I don't know about the corporate job because I'm not at a corporate job. But for the people that I know that have regular jobs, they don't be at those jobs for 20, 50 years. I don't even think my mom was at her job for anything longer than maybe 5 or 7 years. She worked in the field for 20 something odd years, but the job, no, no, no.
I'd agree with Timotheus where like he did say some good things. He did. But he does make a point where like, okay, if you keep switching jobs, you're not gonna have those types of benefits coming to you. But I think the message that's supposed to be taken away from that is back in the days, your grandma, your grandpa, your uncles or cousins, whoever, they be at these jobs for 30 years and they go in every morning at 6 a.m. They clock out at 5 p.m. or whatever time they clock out. And that's just what they did. And they moved as robots and they just did whatever they were told to do. Where now in this day and age, there are more options. So people are taking those options and saying, I don't have to deal with your bullshit. I can go and take my skills and find another job. Um, and try to better myself in that aspect. Where a lot of
Yeah,
times back in the days we didn't really have that option. If you were at a factory, that was a good job, and you would that's what was feeding your family. You weren't about to go against the grain. Because you're not trying to miss that check, but because there wasn't a lot of different options available. That's what I took from that clip.
yeah. And now there's a lot of options available. And not even that, you still got with somebody in one of the back chats posted. There's a lot of ghost job ads out there that present themselves as being potential job for someone that is unemployed or look or seeking for better employment, and it's not a real job the fuck at all, especially in this digital age. Everything is digital. Finding a job is digital, paying your rent is digital, everything is digital nowadays.
I watched that clip that they showed, and they basically explained that a lot of those ghost jobs and ghost positions are posted because those businesses are seeking investors, and the best way to show an investor that your business is worth investing in is to make the appearance of you have growth.
Right. Yeah,
So
make that
if
appearance that you have growth.
so if I'm hiring, if I'm posting saying, "Oh, I'm hiring," then it makes it look like, "Oh, look, see, I'm growing. I need more employees. Give me the money. Give me the grant. Give me the loan." Yeah,
And then
but
it sets a
absolutely,
precedence for the employees as well, thinking that their position can be filled at any given time, where is potentially isn't going to be filled at any given time. But let's go
But
into the work ethic, though,
real quick,
since
let me
we
add
on a
this because I don't want
conversation.
to forget. But real quick, because I don't want to forget, y'all know I got a bad memory. I'm old. I'm Gen X, remember? Um, but even as a person who was a salary store manager, and even though I had good careers, I always kept my eye out for other opportunities. I never just said, okay, this is going to be where I'm going to be for the rest of my life. If another opportunity presented itself, I would listen to what that opportunity could be. Because a lot of times what happens is they in the corporate world they know what to expect from you, and so they're going to pay you exactly what you're going to get paid, and they depend on your loyalty. That's going back to what that clip said. They depend on your loyalty. But if you start to take yourself out the box and say, I know that my worth can potentially be more, and you just keep your open mind, doesn't mean you got to take every single job and that you come across, but just always keep your eyes open for a better opportunity.
but then
Work
again,
is
it's like, but the guy also said, because what you just said goes right with what the guy says. They also have a safety net. At your big age you got right now, and Billy's age Billy got right now. Can Billy just be like, you know what? I'm tired. I'm done with this. I'm quit, and I'm gonna find something else. Y'all will be screwed, right?
Mm, mm.
That's the difference. You can't pack up your family and then go move with your mommy and daddy until you figure it out.
Yeah, no.
Yeah,
What
so,
type of? I'm just curious. What type of dude, like Tim, do you think that guy was?
I don't know. I think he was a TikToker trying to make content.
right.
I
Um,
mean,
Well, I'm
like,
just saying, like
I just want to.
for
Go
an
ahead.
example, I'll give you a brief example. and I know I probably, Morphine and Timotheus have heard me say this because we talk a lot in the back chats. But when I was at Dollar Tree, AutoZone recruited me. I didn't know nothing about selling car parts, and they were after me for months and months and months because they wanted my management skills. They said we could teach you all of the other stuff. We just want your management skills. And finally, one day they were like, "Yo, can you just come down here and talk to us because we trying to talk to you?" And I was like, all right, fine, I'll come and talk to you. And I was still kind of, because I had this loyalty to Dollar Tree because I had been there for 9 years. But when they started talking, my salary, when I left Dollar Tree, my salary increased by $30,000. Right there, it increased. So again, just because I wanted to be loyal to Dollar Tree, at that point in time, I had to say, oh, you said 30,000. You said you're gonna pay me how much?
Yeah.
And you gonna teach me all this shit? Oh, well, maybe my loyalty isn't, you know, for Dollar Tree. And then when I went to Dollar Tree, and I said, look, these people are offering me X amount of money to come to their company, they came with $4,000. And I was like, well, yeah, 30,000 versus 4,000 is it's an easy decision to make.
In this
Yeah.
in
So
this
hold up. Why I asked that real quick, and I'm gonna try to wrap it up because I see everybody want to get it in, but I asked what type of dude he was because like I, I don't think he has like a family. Like I'm not gonna put pause the sugar in his tank, but I'm just saying I didn't get this was a man with children to live for. This was a man with a wife. This was a man that has certain things going on. So to bring it back to the topic, in my opinion, his opinion was very non-family oriented. Like it was almost like saying because you're not doing what your parents told you to do. I think those were his exact words at one point, right? What I think we're going to find, because there's a term called the laggard effect, right? Where you don't see stuff right now, right? As a laggard effect. So you'll see 15 years from now, everyone wasn't meant to be a CEO, right? I'm not against trying, go for it. But I think one of the worst parts about the internet age is it's literally made everyone believe they have a right to be a CEO. And the sad fact is that's just not true. And we're going to see it as people retire. You get what I'm saying? I think one of the problems is with all the information we have, we're not looking at reality. Like we're not looking at what it's really going to cost to retire, stop working and be comfortable. I'm not talking about what he was talking about, just leaving your job. But I'm saying those that are trying to accumulate something and get to an age where they can sit down, travel. You know what I'm
There's no
saying?
such thing.
But I think dude was more
Shit.
saying along the lines
I
of
said super.
us at a. I think he was more saying like to not be afraid to venture out because, and that's why I said a lot of what he said was true and good, but then a lot of it was like it's like the idea to not be afraid to, well, not even necessarily be afraid. Don't be loyal to this job that's not going to be loyal to you because you can
Absolutely.
put in all, you
I
can put in
think
all this hard work. You can put in all this hard work and do all of these years, and they can come up to you one day and be like, Mr. Timotheus, here you go. Appreciate you. You know what I'm saying?
absolutely. And you should be prepared for it and take your
Right.
severance and figure it out. But one of the things that I got from his video was this push for entrepreneurship and all that's cool until people start failing and gotta figure it out, right? So how in one part the joke is the advantage they have is they can walk away from something because they aren't that age. The problem is you walk away from something and you're not building anything. First off, you'd be lucky to hit that age, but what are you gonna do if you have no real resume, no career skills, no job? You know what I'm saying? Like there is, I just see the other side of it that there is value in building a career. There's nothing shameful about that. There's nothing wrong with that. And I believe for the people who find themselves in that space, like just hold on, right? And have a strong belief because you're gonna see 15 years from now, 20 years from now, you'll be traveling while other people eating cats for real. You know what I mean?
In the workplace expectations, younger generations may prioritize work-life balance, flexibility, and propose driven work, while older generations may emphasize job stability, loyalty, and hierarchy in the workplace. Economic outlook, because I'm about to skip social values. We gonna go back to that. But economic look, older generations may have experienced greater economical stability during their formative years, whereas younger generation often face challenges like student debt, how high housing costs, and more competitive job markets. Those are the difference between the two. So I would say this at the information. With the things that you guys are saying, like I said before, many people stay in the same career field, but they just change job to job to job. I don't really see a lot of people keeping the same job at the same place, but staying in the same career. Like for example, you'll see a nurse. The nurse might not stay at the hospital for 20, 30 years, but she might go for a different hospital, the hospital from being in the hospital to doing private practice, so forth and so on. So I will say what he was saying about as far as your workplace ethic, your work ethic. If that job, that place, that space ain't working for you, stay in your career field, but go to another space. And don't be afraid to do it for yourself if you can. Don't be afraid to fail too, because failing is a part of learning.
But you do realize that I know I failed. I got kids to feed.
Yeah, but I mean, I can agree with that. I'll give you a good example since you use nursing, right? So, I have a young lady. She's a nurse, right? And she had a 4-year-old son at the time, and she was also pregnant. And nursing, we all know, is a taxing job, right?
Right.
But they had this nursing program at Billy's school. So she applied for the position for the nursing, teacher at Billy's school. She didn't apply for it because she was a nurse. She applied for it because she was a nurse and she wanted time for her family and her child. You see what I mean? So sometimes you just got to weigh your options and see what's going to work best for you with your family dynamics and what's going on in your life. And then also, I want to add that you got to also remember what your value is and what you bring to the table. If somebody, it- like, I'm looking for a job, Momo's in school, my house is empty, I'm about to go back to work because I'm going crazy in this house. Now, am I going to go and work at Walmart and scan groceries? Probably not. That's not going to be me because that's not what my resume is. You know what I mean? I know my value. But at the same time, if I say, okay, this is the job that I want, this is the amount of pay that I expect. If they tell me, well, I can't give you that pay, I'm gonna say, okay, have a nice damn day, because I know the next person will. So it just all boils down to your value and what you have and what you can bring to the table. I know we
Right.
hate that one, but I'm
Yeah,
talking
what you
about
could
table as at least at the job. I ain't talking about
at least the
relationship.
job table, at least the
Yeah,
job table. Like something we
it's
all
the job.
understand and we can't debate on. The job got a
Right,
table.
right. So, again, and that's why I encourage people. And I've been in retail management for over 2 decades. And there have been times where I've told my employees to quit. Can you believe that one? I've been like, no, you know what? You have an opportunity to do, because they were very loyal to me. Because I am a good boss. I roll up my sleeves. I'm not a dictator. I don't point and say do this. We doing this shit together. And there were some times where my some of my employees would come to, I got this opportunity, but I don't want to leave you. I'm like, no, girl, bye. Why are you still here? No, go take that opportunity because I can't give you that same opportunity. I
Right. And
want
then
you to
you
be
got
good.
bosses that try to keep you there because of the socialism part of work. Well, which since that got brought up, let's go into the socialisms of the generations. I had to go pick up my handy dandy phone. So we're going down, 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 down Z notes. Hold on, wait, not that down.
Can I get one
Ah,
part in on the jobs real quick?
well, yeah. Before we end it, go ahead, brother.
So one thing I'll always say is I worry a lot less about the guy that's been working 15 years than the guy that's been an entrepreneur for 15 years. Because at a certain age, you realize the honest truth is unless your business is an absolute success, and there are people who can figure that out. The main thing I stress to friends and family when they come to me with these great ideas is the honest to God truth is everybody ain't gonna figure it out, right? And most of the time, for most ideas or markets or whatever, there's 1,000 people already trying to do it. I'm not telling anybody to not jump out the window and chase their dreams, but I just do. I'm always the person that will remind you you're taking a big risk. And there's nothing wrong with building a stable career, stable 401k. I say two things all the time. One, I always say do both. So if you've got a job doing construction and you still want to drop your trap album, do both, right? If you're working at this company, but it's important to have that stable income, especially the way I think most of the people on the line are parents. Well, I know at least me and Tim Dog are, right? Like you have
All
to
of us
have
are.
a
All four of
stable,
us on the panel are parents. All four of
right?
us are parents.
So then we all know you got to have that stable income. That's key. So I'm a big advocate of do both. Chase your dream, but keep something stable.
All
And
right.
I can agree real quick. I agree with you 1,000%. I got two boys. One want to be in the NFL. One want to be in the NBA. And you know what I tell them? I said, make sure you have a backup plan. That's all.
Got
You
to.
know, you gonna do something that's gonna get you some money and be able to take care of you and your family. And if you happen to make it into the NFL or NBA, cool beans.
Now this is where our
But
kids do have.
that's not what I want you to depend on.
This is where our kids do have a slight advantage. This when it comes to the information, most of them know right now. Even if I make it, the slim chance it is for all of us to make it to that league, I still got to have a backup plan because all your favorite entertainers, football, club Shay Shay, they all have a podcast. They all have a business. They're all invested in something. So, even if you make it there to maintain it and God forbid see it grow, like guys like Shaq did, you get what I'm saying? You have to come in thinking about that next plan. So, yeah, stress that, sis, but salute.
Right, right. We agree.
All right. So can I move on to social values? So
Of
social
course you
value,
can.
All right,
social.
hang on. To all the new viewers that's watching, we're just discussing and comparing the different generations. If you want to come on the panel and represent your generation, click the link in the comments.
Social values. Younger generations tend to be more progressive on issues like diversity, gender equality, climate changes, and the LGBTQ rights, while older generations may have a more conservative or traditional values on these topics. And I'm gonna also go on to the parenting style. Parenting style approaches differ with older generations, often volunteering or valuing stricter and more authoritative methods, while younger generations tend to favor more democratic and communicative approach to raising children. Hence, the what did the guy say? Soft parenting.
Wait,
That-
wait, wait.
no
Let me
lie, as a
so,
millennial, I am not for the soft parenting. I don't know if
I
that's
was
my
gonna say, can I get some
generation.
I knew
clarification?
sis question. I know your question, sis. What is soft parenting? Soft parenting is saying nope, and we're just gonna sit here until you act nice. And until you say it correct, we're just gonna sit here. Nope, that's soft parenting. So I guess what we used to is hard parenting. Who you talking to? Quack quack. Go clean it up. That's the point.
So is it saying that pretty much
I
the
might
older
agree.
generations are saying like that we're more strict, and then the younger generations are saying that they're less strict?
So it was a
I'm
video
not
that
so sure
came
what
out.
that
It's basically saying that as the generations progress, the parenting becomes lax and lax. And being a gentle parenting and soft parenting is not necessarily a generational thing. It's more of a cultural thing, in my opinion. I
I
just
agree.
know that in the house that I grew up in, I wasn't like I could never say, "Mom, you're acting like a bitch." Yeah, I
Yo,
would be.
Tim,
is. Yeah,
did you
I'd be
see?
buried. I'd be buried, dead. You know
yeah.
what I'm saying?
Yo,
You
Tim,
know,
did you see the
there's some
soft
households.
parenting
Like, what
video?
am I doing? No, I'm gonna look. I'm gonna look for one up while y'all talk about it.
So the video that made the term go viral was a woman of a different culture, right? To your point, she was soft parenting her child, and her child was wilding on her. And her child was banging on the door. The child swung on her, hit her in the head, punched her in the face. She picked up the little, I don't know if it was a sand pail for the beach. I don't know, hit her in the head. Bing! Like the child was wilding,
Dang,
right?
you had to
And
do the sound effects.
the mother was literally soft parenting, like how we say in the streets. I'd tell my wife, "You soft if you let that little girl do that to you," right? Like it was it was a very, to Tim's point, I believe, cultural thing. You get what I'm saying? Certain things we've never tolerated, but again, things are changing every day. So who knows who latches on to what? But yeah, that was
But
the
but
video that made it all go viral. Soft parenting.
but like I'm a Gen X person, and I didn't have my first child until I was 35. I had my second son at 36, and I had my
Mhm.
third child at 43. And I don't I've never beaten my kids, and I have excellent kids. Like I'm not even saying that because I mean they get on my nerves? Hell yeah. Are they kids? Hell yeah. But like as far as like anything to the extreme, I don't have problems with them at all.
I,
They
I'll
be
be
honorable.
honest, sis. I hear it in your voice. Like you get the utmost respect from me. All right, yes, ma'am. I'm gonna just go do it. 'Cause I can
Yeah,
hear it
like
in your voice. You know.
I don't have that issue, and I've never put my hands on my kids.
Right. I think I
Um,
spanked my son one good time, and he got to scrambling like two eggs on a Sunday morning. I felt bad, but I probably only spanked my son one time ever in life that we both remember.
I can't lie and say I spanked my child or my two boys once in their life, but I could say I could count it on one hand.
yeah,
In my belief, I say this: if I got to do this consistently, then I need to change the method because this shit ain't working. Okay. Um, and I do think that it's an age requirement on that as well. I don't think you should be slapping around your 13, your 14-year-old, because if they ain't get those ass whoopings earlier and it didn't stick, then yeah, I would think you have to change your form of discipline as
yeah,
a
and
millennial. As a
let
millennial.
me make it very clear that I'm all for parents disciplining their children the way that they need to. I'm not judgmental. As long as you ain't beating your kid, when you know what I mean when I say beating. As long as you're not abusing your child, every once in a while, your child might need a little wake up call. Um, I've been fortunate enough to not have that happen. But look, I'm knocking on wood right now. They only 12 and 11. It can still come. Where Billy will be like, look, and I tell you what Billy gonna do. Billy gonna be like, yo, go take a ride, go to Walmart. Here's a card, cause I'm about to tear your sons up. And you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna get in the car and go to Walmart with the card. I'm gonna spend some money, cause I don't want to hear him tearing their ass up. But I know sometimes it is a necessity. But I just think that it has to be a necessity. Some people like they spill Kool Aid and you whooping their ass. Yeah, no, that's not cool.
Yeah,
That's not cool at
I
all.
agree. I agree.
Yeah, so it depends. But every once in a while, yeah, one of them kids they need a little wake up call. Matter of fact,
But
one time I remember Ethan went to school and the teacher texted Billy. Stupid ass Ethan forgets his father's a teacher and all the teachers know him. And he's like, "Yeah, your son was sagging his pants today." So when he came home, he told that ass up. He said, "Sag your pants now. You want to show your ass? Show him your ass now."
I would just add, oh, I don't really think it's a time on it because as a kid that was punished hard parent, I'm thankful to say I had by my mother, even at my very big age, as the brother said earlier, even at my very big age now, the amount of respect I have for my mother, it never changes. You get what I'm saying? So your kids might be in their teens. You might have to, grab them up a little bit more. I think it's more of an issue with boys, and it has a different effect when a man does it to them. That's a different
I think it's
conversation.
a fact
All
with
right.
boys or girls,
Oh,
but go ahead.
so I'm gonna play this. I'm gonna put the fair use ticker at the bottom of the screen for the, YouTube purposes. Fair use.
They're
I
used to.
will I will be pausing it, so we can have our commentary. But this is ABC News, and they're doing a segment on defining what is gentle parenting. So if everyone can mute their mics briefly.
Might be a term that you've never heard of before, especially if you aren't on TikTok. Over the last 2 years, thousands of gentle parenting videos have garnered millions of views. But what is gentle parenting actually? 13 is on your side with the answer. Sarah Ockwell Smith is a parenting expert in England who has written several books about gentle parenting.
I've been talking about and teaching people about gentle parenting for 17 years now. And I would say for the last 15 of those, it was a very fringe movement. Not many people had heard of it.
A quick Google search shows she may actually be the one to coin the term, though she won't take credit for it.
A few people were using the same phrase. It doesn't belong to me, but I don't think it belongs to anybody.
So what is gentle parenting?
I talk about treating children with empathy, understanding, and respect. It's that simple. If you want to.
Okay, hold on. Wait, that's wait. What?
No, no, and no.
Like like that's no, that's not. If you're not doing these things, then how are you parenting? That's just parenting. Period.
Right.
Empathy. Empathy. If I don't think any person that's worth their salt, any decent human being, their kid would fall off the bike and be like, that's what your little ass get, little.
Right.
I don't care if you 2 years old. Get your that's why you fail. No, that's not gonna happen. You're gonna coddle the kid, unless it's a boy. If it's a boy, you're gonna let the boy cry too long because that's something I'm against. Boys aren't allowed to. That's a whole other color. Boys can't be human. But parents tend to say, okay, stop acting like a girl, suck it up. It don't even matter if you two, but that just happens. But then understanding, that's one that's kind of, I don't know. Is there different? Is that a generational thing?
I think it starts with that. As your parent, I understand.
I think it's a generational thing, and this is why I'm gonna say I think it's a parenting thing, because I grew up with a parent that they weren't trying to understand what I was. Only time they cared about what I was feeling is if it was something that required them to get to tell me what happened. But if it wasn't
Right.
tell me what happened, I don't care. I said go clean them dishes. I don't care if your feet hurt. My feet hurt too. I've been at work. Have you been at work all day working to get stuff together? Oh no, you just been at school. Get your ass in there, clean up the goddamn dish. You know what I mean?
I think the understanding though that isn't being formulated here is understanding that if you don't do, I already understand as your parent what you need to do, what you need to learn. If you don't learn these things now, you're going to be a bum. You're going to be a dusty. You're going to be nasty. No, go clean them dishes. It's not about understanding your feelings. I understand what I need to do as a parent. That's not what I think this white lady was saying, but
person of a different culture. Yeah.
Yeah,
right.
you know, that's a different culture, you know, so they
You
got
right.
a different
He from
understanding over
Okay, well,
there.
hold on. Hold
go,
on.
go ahead.
I'm gonna let my half white self kick in
Yeah,
Uh-oh.
please do.
then.
Yeah, I
Where's
didn't
the
So
hear.
inner white girl at?
when
Where is the inner white girl?
Shout out to
so
Maurice.
I'm thinking that when she was speaking about that she was actually speaking about letting your children have a voice and understanding that they're little people with big feelings and it's a big world to navigate and they simply sometimes cannot understand what it is that is going on. And now that my white girl voice is over, let me go ahead and get back to it. And I practice that with my children. Like my children can come and talk to me about anything. Like there's been times Momo will go in the house and slam the door, and I'm like, "Oh, okay. Tell me how you really feel." And then look, 3 minutes later, she come back and hug me and said, "Mommy, I love you," because I understand that she's only 4 years old. She doesn't at this point understand how to fully comprehend what she's feeling. And this is after two children. The third kid is when I got it right. My two first ones, I fucked them all up. But the third one, I was like, I understand now because they are at an age where I mean, sometimes we don't comprehend our own feelings. We sometimes we as adults we're sitting in the room and something's going on in our lives and we can't even comprehend why we're going through this and what we're supposed to do with this. So for a 4 year old that doesn't know that sometimes their shoe is on the wrong fucking foot, that's like huge for them. So again, now let me get it very clear because don't let the light skin fool you. Like I get to the point where like, all right, that's enough. You about to get snatched up. Stop playing with me, girl. But if she's having a little tantrum, I said go in the house. Go in the house and come back to me when you're done. And then we can talk about it. And she does. And we've done that for like the past couple of years since she's been a little more, mentally available to do that and she knows now. But people think that gentle parenting is just like you're a pushover, and it's not necessarily that. It really truly is that you're giving your child the opportunity to express feelings. But us as adults, we automatically say, "Oh, well, that's disrespectful." And I'll give you one more example before I land my plane. Like she was at Yaya house, and Yaya called me. She said, "You know, your daughter told me that I was irritating her." I said, "Well, you probably was irritating her. She wasn't disrespectful. She didn't curse at you. She just told you. She told you you were irritating her. So leave her alone. They have feelings just like we do. They just don't know how to express them or compress them when they need to." That's my take on that.
I don't
Now I'm not
know.
gonna let them be like flat out disrespectful. Don't get it twisted.
All
But
right.
I'm
So,
gonna give them a little bit of room. Okay,
I'm
you can
putting up
express
the wrap it
yourself.
up sign.
but to you saying that their feelings,
Okay,
they have
hang on.
feelings like we do.
Welcome to the stage, Maurice. Did you want to say something? Because I want to go
Oh
back to the
God, not
video too.
Maurice. Okay, I'm going on mute.
Hate it. Good. You talk too much. She gonna come back. Watch. Anyways,
No, but
speaking before she
for
starts.
a point of our children having feelings like we do, I can't agree with that because our feelings come with experience, right? Like we have a certain wisdom that comes from experience, right? I'm not big on
Nah,
my.
I gotta disagree,
I
bro.
want hold on.
The only difference experience
I'm
brings
glad you said it.
is being able to recognize what the feeling that you're feeling is.
Right,
Because you can
right.
scare the hell out of a baby, and that's when that baby learns what fear is.
This is my point, though. That's important, right? To be able to understand your own feelings. You're talking about kids who have never done nothing in life, right?
So
And I'm trying to explain. You're saying understand their feelings. They don't even understand their feelings. To the point I was making that my feelings are different from my child's feelings, it's simply because my feelings come with a certain level of wisdom that my child doesn't have.
Yeah.
So
I think you misusing.
even if
But
just
that's
even if
exactly what I hold on.
hold
That's
on.
exactly what I was saying. Hold on, no. That's
I
exactly
ain't
what I was
finished though.
saying.
Let me.
We hold on real quick, because I will lose my train of thought real quick.
Me
That's
too.
exactly what I'm saying. Yes, as adults, we know how to handle our emotions and our feelings. Your 3, 4, 5 year old. I'm not talking about your 10 and 11 and 12 year olds. I'm talking about your toddlers. They don't know how to express their feelings because they don't even know how to deal with the world. They haven't experienced it yet. So sometimes you kind of gotta just let them like sometimes she'll be like, "Mom, I'm mad at you," and I'll be like, "Say less. Go in the house. Come get me
So
when you're ready." What
so
am I going to do? Sit there and argue with her? Like, why are you mad with me? No,
Okay.
I see you
Okay.
mad.
I wanna be able to get back to the video, but go ahead, Maurice. He was waiting patiently.
Right.
Yeah. I think my brother over here was. I think you're using the wrong word. Feelings ain't the right word. I don't know what you're trying to say exactly, but it seems like feelings out of place. But I didn't get to see what White Lady was saying in this.
that's
So,
right. That's the word that was given. That's the only reason I responded to it. But I'm with you.
yeah, I didn't hear what White Lady had to say in this, but based on what the stuff that you was talking about here, one thing that the old school has right, which seems to be missing in current these newer generation of stuff, is how to separate how you're feeling and your emotions from the actions. Like the whole concept of, yeah, you're upset, but them dishes still need to get done. Yeah, you're super excited, you want to play this stuff and open up your gifts, but your room still needs to be clean. Like your emotions do not dictate how you act. Your
And I want
emotions.
to jump in with one thing, brother, because I agree with you. I think we do a better job as a society right now teaching our kids. I don't care how you feel. You shouldn't be going to shoot up a school, right? You
Yeah.
shouldn't be spinning the block on a drill, right? When you start giving in to the feelings of children who haven't even formulated how to handle their own feelings, then you put yourself in a place where you're not in control. And I never want to be like that with my child. I don't want to control my child forever. I want to control my child while my child needs me to control them. I'm
Control.
Right.
thankful.
Right.
I'm
Right.
thankful
Yeah,
for the
Okay.
control.
control my mother
Let
had
me
over
get
me.
back to the video. Let me get back to the video real quick so we can get through it. Everybody, if you can mute,
Use
please.
all my
Let's move
time.
on.
All my time gone.
We're gonna give you back your time, bro.
If you want a more sort of official answer, gentle parenting is just a style of parenting known as authoritative parenting.
Where does it sit on the parenting spectrum? On one side, you have authoritarian parenting, which is characterized by harsh discipline with the parents in control. On the other side, permissive parenting with very little discipline and the children in control.
Gentle parenting is authoritative parenting, which sits nicely in the middle. So parents have control, but they also give children control. They have a lot of compassion. It's all about lots of discipline, lots of rules, lots of boundaries, but it's all about teaching rather than punishing.
So what does it look like to practice gentle parenting?
A lot of actually what we do happens in our own heads. So it's maybe less about the actual things you can observe if you watch a parent and a child in public, and more about the learning and the understanding that that parent has gone through by themselves. So I think absolutely the main thing that all gentle parents do is they have a really good knowledge of child development and psychology. So they will know how their child's brain is developing, and they will know what they should expect from their child's behavior and their capabilities neurologically at any age. So a lot of it is about having those realistic expectations, not expecting too much of our children, not expecting too little, and making sure we communicate at that level.
Another key, learning to be calm as parents.
If we're very stressed and we yell and we shout, we're going to raise children who yell and shout. So most of the work is done on ourselves.
She also encourages what she calls in-the-moment discipline.
We would work on regulating our own emotions so that we're calm, and then we'd help our child to calm down. And when they're calm, then we can have that discussion about why what they were doing was wrong, and we can teach them a better way.
It does take time, but Sarah says it's so worth it.
We collaboratively solve problems. We look for the reason that the behaviors happened, and we think about how can we solve it together.
On TikTok.
All righty. So the way we all grew up, would you say that our parents were authoritative or permissive?
They were authoritative.
My
Absolutely.
parents was authoritative. My parent was,
Now, for
but
me, my father did have a. I think he had a split because my father was a conversation person. Like, and it was
so maybe
worse.
he was 50-50.
Yeah, he was 50-50. Like when he started talking, especially if he had him some E&J, like I was like, oh my God, it's this gonna be 3 hours. Can you just beat me? Like I was asking for the whooping. Like, can you just whoop me and get this over with? Because you about to talk to me for 3 hours and tell me why I was wrong and what I need to do better and blah 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 blah
And that was worse than the
blah.
You,
whooping.
That
you
was
know
worse
what I
than the
noticed
whooping.
though? This is what I noticed. I noticed that a lot of the parents that want to try or want to promote gentle parenting are not millennials. So there's
Is
that.
most of them that want to post? No, I disagree. I think the majority, because that lady of another culture that was on the screen was definitely a millennial.
No, she wasn't.
No, she wasn't a Gen Xer, and she was
She
too
was
old.
I
definitely a Gen X.
Nah.
Yeah.
Unless
okay.
she was
I'm
I would
The
experiencing
one
say
it.
that
gonna be
was the
honest.
one that was sitting there explaining it, she was older, bro. She was not my age.
I
Nah.
I'm
think
gonna be
you
the odd
believe
one on
that,
the
but
table.
remember, black don't crack. So
And even if we want to go into
Uh,
like the Facebook's the space, shoot, a lot of guys that are, like I said, promoting this
that
are your
morphine.
generation, bro.
That
Like it's
woman
not my
probably
generation.
24
That's your
years old.
generation. My generation whooping ass still. Like, but your
I'm
generation want to do this, let's talk to the kid shit.
all right,
like
so
I'm gonna go ask AI. I'm gonna ask AI
see, I
which
was gonna
like,
generation.
like I said,
I'm
y'all hear
talking
me?
about socially,
Yeah,
not
we hear you,
I
but
agree.
just when
I
Jess
agree
is
with
not
her.
on mute, she has an echo that's going on. But we hear you, Maurice.
Oh, it's because Jesse be just talking over people, like bull running through people, like she don't understand.
That's because I don't like you, Maurice.
It's okay. You don't have to like me. I just ask that you let me speak. It's different.
I don't want to.
We separate our emotions from our actions. We're learning about this right now.
No, we're not doing gentle parenting here.
No. See, I was gonna break down how it's not so much different than learning how to have conversations and being emotionally stable. Right? That's everything that she said.
Stop
Well,
playing with me. You know I'm joking with you. Make sure everybody know I'm joking with you, so they think that
well,
I
no,
hate
it,
you or
it was
something.
my way of being able to sneak in what I had to say, which was all that woman said was learn how to have a conversation, but before you do, make sure you're emotionally stable before you do, or else
Mm-hmm.
you're gonna influence the person you're having a conversation with, especially if your purpose as the parent or
Mm-hmm.
even the therapeutic friend, whatever you want to call it, in a situation where you were dealing with somebody that's emotionally unstable, is that you have to stabilize yourself first emotionally, and then have an investigative conversation to figure out what's
Mm-hmm.
going on. And that, I mean, that's what it takes to
I
deal with,
agree.
again, to
I
deal
mean,
with a crazy friend or a friend that's having some type of issues, or if it's a child. That's it's just no difference. We try to make like, oh, don't treat me like a child. Well, you know what, when you're in this emotional instability, you might as well be a child. There's no difference. And it's not like we can't all end up in that situation where we become emotionally unstable, and we need a stabilizing factor, which is a parent like.
Mm-hmm.
So we
Go
so
ahead,
agree
mother.
that
I,
Go ahead, brother Maurice. You get some finger
I know,
snap
right? No,
wait,
I actually
for
agree
that.
with
I
her.
did want to say something though. I think the
So do we
fundamental difference,
agree?
though, I
What?
think the fundamental difference between the two styles of parenting is one will not do something, right? So when you're dealing with permissive parenting, when you're dealing with soft parenting, they're not going to do certain things, right? That doesn't say that me on the authoritarian side won't whip them cheeks, but at the same time, understand you, listen to you, be empathetic. I feel like she used very soft words to define her parenting as if that's not going on the other side. I believe in balance.
I disagree.
Okay,
I
so
don't believe
I want to
that
throw this
when
out
you're
here.
whooping your child's ass, that you're really listening to them or anything. If you see your kid do some F shit and your reaction is to whoop they ass first, then you're reacting off of what's going on. You're not thinking about it. You're not thinking about, checking your feelings and solution training. You're not thinking about none of that.
Well,
You're
just
reacting
out of
off
my
of it. If the
experience,
person made you mad, because your
I've
child
never
made you mad.
seen nothing my kids have gotten in trouble for. They get in trouble for the things I'm not there for, right? Most of the
Well,
time
that's
they get
not
in trouble
helpful.
in school, right? So
That's
listen,
not
hold
helpful
on,
to your argument.
hold on. So there is a conversation that goes on. I first make them acknowledge they're wrong. I have to convince them of why I'm being so tough on you, why you won't have anything to charge for the entire weekend, why I'm being an authoritarian. I have to get a
Oh,
lesson through to you. So that conversation is had. I just wanted to bring that point out. When I'm disciplining my kids, I'm never there for it. It's always the call I get from school.
this brings back to social values from the two generations. This is why I pit these two together. I pit parenting styles and social values together. I read them together because the way you socialize is probably going to be the way you parent. It's going to be a little mix of both in there. And if you have a certain social value in the way that you socialize, then that's going to pair off into your parenting. So if you feel like certain discussions shouldn't be discussed or certain conversations shouldn't be had based on age, gender, whatever the hell, that may definitely leak into your style of parenting.
All right,
But
so
I
I
got
want to
real
say this real
quick,
quick.
Tim.
Okay.
Real quick before I forget. Let me ask
Okay.
this to the panel. My children, and I'm being honest, y'all know me, y'all have known me for years. My children are more afraid to disappoint me than they are afraid of an ass whooping. Like when they walk into the house, if they had a bad day or if something happened at school, they're more afraid of the disappointment than them to get an ass whooping. Is that not no longer a thing where
Of
where
course.
you instill the pride into your children to where
And
Now,
I think
now,
it was
sis,
another time somebody said where back in the days we were afraid. We weren't afraid of ass whooping per se. I mean we were, but we were afraid to disappoint our family's name. Like, oh, you such and
well,
such boy.
let me
I know
let
you
me
know better.
let me answer that by starting by asking you a question. Right?
All of these questions is going to lead to
No, no, no.
answers.
Mine is a yes or no, and then
It's
I'm
going
going
to
to
be
answer
listening.
her
It's
because
going to
I'm
derail the
making an
conversation a little
assessment.
bit.
I'm making an assessment on what I believe she has. Right? Let me ask you this: are you married?
oh man,
Yeah, she married,
Yes,
nigga.
I don't
rhetorical.
know. I'm asking.
yes,
Miss
Relax.
her
yes. I'm married.
MRS skills was
Thank you.
enhanced.
Yeah, it
So
says
now
MRS.
this
Like,
this
You're,
is what
you're
this
chewing
is
up
what I was trying to get to
eh,
because I believe that, and I believe her husband is a very manly father, and salute to him. Right? This allows you to have a certain level of just that fear of disappointment. When you get to a place where, as a lot of us are just single parents, so we spend a lot of time away from our kids. I think you know as well as I know that when it's two of y'all, the rotation's different. And somebody 9 times out of 10 is able to always kind of keep their eyes on them in those moments. You would kind of agree with that, right?
brother,
Because I'm married
what's
too.
the point? What's the point to this?
My point is, some people are in drastic need to parent different, right? I totally believe that works for her. But if you get a child in a different situation, there's way different influences on that child. And so it may be way more important to correct that immediately and right now. And permissive
Right.
parenting, sadly, like permissive parenting is not going
So
to King Vaughn in the house.
so this is so since you brought up permissive parenting, that goes right into what I was getting ready to read. The traditionalist generation, the generation born from 1922 to 45, are known as the authoritative parenting style. They emphasized obedience. You do what I say, not as I do.
That's my mama.
The discipline and respect and authority. When it came to the boomers born from 1946 to 64, they were the more permissive parents, according to this study. They were more focused on nurturing and protecting, making sure that their children were safe and encouraged them to express themselves. That's pretty much what they were just saying about the gentle parenting. Now,
That's right,
us,
Jimmy.
yeah, just this Gen X, we're known as the hands off parents. You on mute. Shout out to Coach Fergie on there too. Um, but we were the hands-off parents. We valued our own independence, so which is the latchkey kids, which is why we worked. Okay, all right. When you come home from school, you had a note. I don't know. Some people had a note, some didn't. You know, had the good go in the house,
Do
get
the
you some,
dishes, feed your sister, do your homework.
get you something to eat, get you do your homework, take the chicken out the freezer so it can be ready when I get home so I can cook it. You know what I mean?
Right.
Don't you open and don't you open this door for nobody.
Hey, yo, you must
I
have
don't
spent the
I
night
don't
over my
care.
crib before.
I don't care if Jesus is knocking on the door. You better not open up my goddamn.
You must have spent the night in my crib.
You better not open up my
No did.
goddamn door. All right, now after that are the millennials. They're known as the helicopter parents. They're the ones that's
Mercy.
over nurturing, over protective. Emphasis on economic achievement, encourage their children to participate in activities versus the Generation X, which is my generation, that it emphasized and encouraged children to take risks and to make mistakes. And we emphasize that they learn from the mistakes. The discipline that Generation X style is more practical. It's like, okay, you burned your why did you burn your hand? Hang on. Why did you burn your hand? Because you touched the stove. Okay, so what did you just learn? You learned that the stove is hot. You know what I'm saying? And the old phrase came from that type of stuff, which came from the boomers, because my mother used to say it. You only take one time to touch fire to know that it's hot. But you can come off. Let me get through a Gen Z, which is my son, and he's parenting my grandbabies. It says they're the free range. I can actually see this, the free range parenting. They kind of let their kids figure it out. You know what I mean? Let them develop into who they want to be,
Right.
and not gear them to where you want them to be.
Right.
And
I can see that too.
That can be good, but there has to be
I'll see that.
no. Listen. Let me get it out. It can be good, but they have to have that core foundation has to be there, because they can want to be a high school dropout and be homeless, but you don't want to steer them in that direction. You know what I mean? They value autonomy and independence of children. They encourage their children to take ownership in what they learn and to make decisions themselves. How you gonna make a decision when you're a baby? You know what I mean?
And make decisions and solving problem solve.
And solve problems, right? And then the last one, I don't even know why it's on here, because most of these kids shouldn't be parents right now.
It's the run up.
Gen Alpha, they shouldn't be parents. I think the oldest ones are like 11 and 12 or something like that. 13.
Right, like 11, 12, 13. Right. So,
I'm guessing it's projecting that they're going to be the tech savvy parents that are going to have their kids watching YouTube, learning, and you know what I mean, and giving them tablets like here, just that type of stuff. They encourage their children.
If they having a kid that young, they can't afford tablets. They don't have to.
No, I think it's a projection of when they get older, not
right.
now.
I want to give Ferg
the things that's on here we don't have now. But go ahead.
I want to give Ferg the floor. Welcome, Coach.
What's up? How y'all doing? What's up, bro?
You ain't finished reading. You gotta finish reading. He interrupted you in the second line.
There was more.
It's more. It says tech savvy parenting style, focus on personalized learning, AI powered education, and digital literacy, encouraging children to explore, create, and innovate using technology. Often use what is that? Gamification, interactive learning, and adaptive to technology as
And,
discipline.
and this
I
applies to
said
what set of
I
parents?
said that in a different set of words. That's the projection for the babies that's right now. Born in 2013 through 2025.
Having
So
babies.
No,
but
no, no, bro. It's a projection when they get older, when they get older enough to have babies. Not now, not right now. We
Okay.
do not have the things
yeah,
that they are saying that
it ain't
they will be. We don't have that
right.
right
That's what I'm
now.
saying. That's what I'm saying. Right now, 2013, those are 11-year-olds. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
Yeah, that's the projectile for them.
dang.
right. But,
Uh,
but go ahead, coach. I want you to drop in. Don't be too long with it. Keep it short and sweet so we can.
Well, man, I've been listening. I've been listening to y'all windmill this thing for about the last 10 minutes, and I want to say this. Listen, Generation X, we are stuck in the middle of all of this. Generation X were given opportunities to explore, to rationalize, reason. We were given that. It was given to us in school. We had science. These little slow kids today can't understand science. They don't do science. We understood financial literacy because you had problems. Your parents showed you how to sort of sort the bills out. So when you and from what my experience with the Generation X's, even the project kids, most of them been working since they were 16, and now they're in their 50s, starting to retire because they understood that they needed to work. They needed to try to sustain and grow something from scratch because that's all we
Retire
had.
fairly comfortably. I
Now
agree.
like he said, hands off. That's why the kids are overweight today. That's why everybody's a little slow reading at grade levels 5 and 6 years below 14, 15 grade level because again, we hands off. We didn't want to discipline our children like our parent disciplined you. But didn't you work since you were 16? Didn't you get your own place? Didn't you do all that? No. My baby can stay with me because his daddy wasn't in his life. Your daddy wasn't in your life. But look what you did. We make excuses for our children. That's the problem. We'll allow society to dictate. They'll tell you don't whoop their kids, and what the police gonna do to your son? They're gonna tell you don't be so hard on, but then what they gonna do? That's the problem.
I tell my
cannot-
kid and the police, y'all better work it out. But if you take them, you're not bringing them back.
But
My
the
kid
thing
would be
is,
like, "Nah, I don't want to leave. I want to stay here."
I used to have workshops with parents, and like this topic is a great topic. I did a live on this topic before. It's really a little bit more as far as levels, but the top 4, and most of us would fall in that because we have children today who we don't put in a direction.
Yep.
We don't. We let them figure that shit out, and most of them, you go in their room right now, that shit smell like a pigsty. So who's leading who? Who's leading who? I met too many people. I used to go into homes, and I'm looking at like, why there's nobody directing this child? But we say we want certain things, but if you want the generational curse to sort of switch, and this is my last thing, we got the Olympics coming here in Los Angeles in 4 years. I don't know how many of y'all live in Los Angeles. If you listen to me, damn it, I better see 5 million Los Angeles Californians and everybody connected to those states with y'all kids getting in these Olympic Games. Start directing them. They might cry a few weeks, but once they learn it, they're going to take it to the next level. You cannot allow them to figure that shit out because guess what? Most of us live in the hood. Most of us making $40,000 a year. So we want our children to, and they get ready to do away with public education, whether y'all believe it or not. Because if you living in these inner cities and all this Section 8, you have no collective bargaining. You can't say what goes on. So unless you become more involved, show up at these parent-teacher conferences. When the teacher call you about your son Nug and your little daughter Bonquisha acting out, you come up to the school like old school mamas and say, "Can I have a locker room?" And you take them in there and wear their little asses out, and then you have the conversation with them at home. You got to have a conversation. We can't have a conversation with our kids at 8 and expect them to have the same mindset at 13 and 14 when they done started to go through puberty. You got to continue to have the conversation. That's the things we don't do. So,
Ferg, one thing real quick. I think my beef with the way gentle parenting was kind of defined was to say that being empathetic, being understanding, having conversations with your kids wasn't something we doing over here. Only difference is I'm gonna put fire to them cheeks. You get what I'm saying? That's the only real, like, I'm going to be stern. I'm going
And
to
the father
lead them.
will, and the father
But
would,
we're still gonna have the conversations, is the
but
point.
see,
You get
this
what I'm
is the
saying?
dynamic of,
But
yeah.
can we have the conversation first and then warm the cheeks? Like if it doesn't
Absolutely.
No,
change?
because you've already had the
That's I
conversation.
think that's what's more
Yeah,
important.
I'm gonna agree with
But it's
Ferg. If you
different.
have the
Listen, it's
conversation
different
before you eat them cheeks,
in
you
a
ain't wrong.
father-led home. It's a little different. It's a
I
little
agree.
different dynamic. I'm telling you, because a boy is only going to move according to the male figure in the home. He's only going to move. He's not going to lash out at mama if he know daddy in the other room. He might get mad and go in his room like we old school used to do and shut the door and say all kinds of shit. And your mama say, "What? Nothing, mama." But the
And as
father
the
is in the
boy,
home.
we get it more later. I understand why she did that. I
But yeah,
understand why
but see,
Pops
as
did
long
that.
as your parents had one voice when it came to your foolishness, everybody go through that time. But the thing is, in our community today, most of our young men only hear the voices of women. And listen, shout out to the single mothers of the old school. Because they came
Now,
to school, they whooped you, they whooped, and all the brothers and sisters was 6'4", and one of them
for
might have slipped
it's
through the cracks. But today, all
it's
the
one
kids are
thing I
dumb as
wanted to
hell.
point out for with the generational thing. One thing I also want to point out as we go down X, Y, Z, LMNOP, right through these generations, there's a degradation of the family. I do want to point that out. And that actually means something. I've been insinuating on that. I haven't jumped right on it. Right. But when we go back, what was the generation before the boomers and then the boomers? And then there's
It
a
was the
steady
traditionalism, then it was the
degradation
boomers.
of the
But once
family.
y'all got around, y'all stopped that. Generation X kind of fucked that up.
I'm
Well,
just
I
saying
mean,
all the way
I'll just
through.
add
It
Technology
that
stopped.
ever changed
The
the game.
Generation X is getting worse.
The
I'll
Yeah,
just
kids
add that
the
I guess
traditionalists are also called the silent generation.
maybe I don't have a dog in this fight because I do have my husband. I've been married to him for 15 years. He's been in our children's lives the entire time. But again, like even him, like he used to be a spanker. I'm not gonna lie to you. He used to be a spanker, and I never. Don't get me wrong. So don't jump on me. I never
Because
interfere
I'm
with his
ready to.
discipline. Hold on. I never interfere with his discipline. If
Right.
he
Thank
says
you.
I'm whooping ass today, here go the
We
bank
on the
card, go to
same page.
Walmart. I'm going to Walmart.
Right.
But
Thank
there
you.
are some times where I'm like, babe, we need to talk about this. The
Right.
punishment doesn't fit the crime.
Right.
Let's think of something different
As you
because you're
should.
not going to
Balance.
reach them this way.
Balance.
You're not making it. You're not solving the problem.
Yes, it
And
will.
again, it's not to try to take away his
Music, that's
power from his children, but we still have to learn that everything doesn't warrant an ass whooping.
You're a
And
part
some
of his
kids need
power.
an ass whooping. Some
You're a
Right.
kids
part of
don't.
his
as
power.
a woman that I'm
Protect
not married, but my children, my youngest son was raised with both his parents. I did not overstand what he said. If he said that's what's going down,
Exactly.
that's what was going down. If I said
Exactly.
no, it wasn't no. But well, I'm the man in the house, and I said you can. Like it wasn't like that. I agree with Coach Total and 100%. Y'all gotta be on the same page. Y'all can argue when the kids ain't around, but right then and there, you have to present a united
Take
front
that shit.
because they will
Yeah.
use that shit against both of y'all. Okay,
Yeah.
it'll be a whole bunch of
Absolutely.
kids against y'all asses.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's where you get.
Absolutely.
Still,
That's where you get the
I
kid.
There's
don't
been
agree with you a
there's
lot,
been
Yeah, you can
Morphine,
still
but you got
cute.
me
Yeah, you
there.
didn't want to get cool
That's
by
where
the
you get
there's
the
kids.
kid.
there's been times where I'm like, oh, you about to get your ass whooped. I told y'all. Yeah, I tried to warn y'all. I did not tell you he had that grass cut before he got home. I
Miss
told
Fields,
y'all
Miss
I'm going
Fields,
to the store because I don't
Miss
want to
Fields, I
let
have a
him.
question. Miss Fields, I have a question. Right, and you mentioned it, and I even experienced it myself. Real quick, I got all else on my report card. What my 7th grade year at gym, I felt gym, art, everything, damn near lunch. Right, I played my mama like she let me go to the gym, but my daddy came home. He knew, and he was strict on education. When he was ready to whoop me, only thing my mama said was, "Don't kill him." That was it. That's all she yelled out, and it was a house full of people. Now, Ms. Fields, the question I have for you is this: because a father will whoop his child out of love, and the thing is, he'll have a conversation after the fact, but in the moment, he has to understand the seriousness, and that's why I think today we have to understand that when it comes to certain things about life and seriousness, we got to have those conversations with the group of the family, whether it's one parent or two. We got to sit down at the table, on the couch, in the living room, and have the conversations. Look, y'all gonna be going out here to these little parties. I'm not trying to hear nothing. Some stuff great break out. You better have your ass home and watch it on the news. If I hear about you, I'm gonna deal with you accordingly. So, Ms. Fields, let me ask you this. When you say your husband was disciplining your children, am I correct or wrong? By the age, I would say by the 8th grade, 9th grade, all of that was over with.
Yeah.
That's what it's supposed to be. Because as the children understand and they get older, they're gonna realize some of that behavior is unwanted. It's uncalled for. It brings too much stress. So let me just chill out, do what I gotta do, at least until and they understand. You know what I'm saying?
But
A lot of these people don't get
let me answer that for you right quick. I'm a different. I'm prior military, and I come from a military background. So me, punishment is like it's fun for me. It's fun for me. Oh, you want to skip PE class? No problem. Let me show you what PE is. And by the time I got done with PE for him, he didn't skip PE no more. You want to waste my time? Okay, count this rice. You don't want to come out when daddy's out here. I know damn good and well you heard the lawn mowing. So you know what? I need y'all to rake the leaves. But no, I don't need you to get the big rake. Take these 2 forks. Figure it out. So I like the punishment. Yeah, no, I'm bad. I'm real bad.
Enhanced interrogation. Isn't that what they call it?
But I mean, the punishment. But here's the thing: the punishment fits the crime, right? You didn't come outside when daddy was cutting grass. You think I'm gonna make it easy for you to do yard work? No, take these 2 forks.
child neglect.
She had me thinking she was soft parent.
No, I'm not
Nothing
soft
about
parenting.
that sounds soft to me.
Oh no, there's discipline for sure. I got a drill sergeant hat, and I will put that motherfucker on in a minute.
I think hers is more like age appropriate. Like when she gave the example of the 4-year-old walking and slamming the door, her not reacting like, "Oh, you da 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 da." She checked her emotions, and she like, "Yo, listen, what's going on? Let's talk about this thing." And I'm gonna say, unless my 12-year-old slammed my door, then it is not going to be let's have a conversation. But if the 3-year-old and the 4-year-old did it, yeah, I want to talk about these emotions. What are you feeling right now? Are you sad? Like, I'm not going to spank my 4-year-old. You're tripping. It's a 4-year-old.
Exactly.
It depends on what they do.
They slammed the door. I'm not spanking you for slamming the door because you got angry.
Hold on.
Like, no, I'm not doing that.
Now, but if, like you just said, hold on real quick. Like you just said, if William or Ethan did it, I probably would lose my shit.
Yeah, because they older, they should know better.
Let me get my piece in here. All right, listen. Spanking, beating, corporal punishment, whatever you want to call it, does not correct behavior.
Yes, it does.
Stop putting that together. No, it doesn't correct behavior. It's a signifier
that corrected mine, brother.
Come on, bro. Let me finish what I gotta say. It's an identifier that something is wrong. It doesn't tell you what is wrong. The only way you get to know what is wrong is from the conversation and the understandings from the person that's implementing the corporal punishment. So beatings do not fix behavior. Like, I'm all for beating your child, but if they don't know why they get, because I've heard horror stories of kids waiting until they got out the shower, they don't even know what they're getting beat for, waking up in the middle of the night because the parents started beating them in the middle of their sleep. Like, beatings in itself and isolation does not correct behavior.
Oh, we
So
all
let's
agree
not
with
put
that.
those two together.
Yeah.
Like it's
Well,
We all agree with that.
it's gonna fix it.
But
so this the thing. This the thing though. This the thing though is
So-
that these what regular spankings does to and I was bad, so I'm speaking for myself right now.
Correct.
All what it trained me to do, emphasis on that word, what it trained me to do is to understand the concept that a whooping was the result of the action. Now, did that make me say, well, since I know I might get a whooping, I'ma not do it? No, it made me be like, okay, how can I do this and not get caught? And not get caught.
Without
Right.
getting
I
caught,
was about to
right?
say,
Good
like,
terror.
whoopings, only thing I asked whooping taught me was how not to get caught. But the
Right.
disappointment,
But
after
hold on,
like the
let's talk
disappointment
about
of
the conversation.
disappointing my mama, like
Let's talk.
if I got kicked out of school, yeah, I'm not worried about that ass whooping. I'm worried about her hurting her feelings and disappointing her as a child. And I ain't
Again,
thinking
Right.
about that
we're
ass
talking about the
whooping. I ain't thinking about that shit
around
at
that
all.
whooping.
Like,
Well, it's one point that I want to make, right? That
Oh, damn.
Timothy has led to it in the beginning, and I think everyone would agree with, right? This conversation is more cultural than anything else, right? Black parents are going to be black parents. We're not perfect, but we love our babies. And we know certain things worked for us, right? In terms of how we were raised. Those of us who were blessed enough to have parents that really worked on raising us, right? We
But you
trust
can't
their
leave out
method.
generation. You can't leave out generation. Both of my parents lived through Jim Crow. So their primary directive in raising me as their son is I have to teach him and protect him against the police because that was the reality they have. They wanted to ensure that their son did not get lynched.
But what I would ask you is you didn't raise your child the same way?
No, I did not teach my child getting lynched was not my son's.
I'm not saying getting lynched. You know what I mean, though, the core of what they did for you.
What I'm saying is that their worry and concern for me not get killed walking to the store to get a bag of Doritos because of the experience of the reality that they lived guided them in how they raised me. Now, the experience of me gangbanging and having to be worried about getting killed walking to the store because I'm wearing the wrong thing was my reality that I then taught my son the opposite. Gangbanging is a bunch of bullshit. You know what I'm saying? And whatever experiences my son lived throughout his life became the catalyst for his reality on how he's going to raise his children. So we have to also factor in that throughout each generation, the experiences you go through in your life become how you see the world, and that's how you're going to teach your children from that perspective, which is why every single generation after the next don't be like, Dad, Mom, you just don't understand, you don't get it, you're not, because they don't believe you've ever been a teenager before, and you haven't been a teenager in the era in which they're being a teenager.
Well, I will say this, right? The things I was taught stuck, right? My grandfather and my father taught me, your job is to be better than me. This is things that I was taught verbatim, right? Like I'm sacrificing, I'm doing things for you. Your gauge, whether you winning or losing in life, you do better than me. They never went to college. I went. I didn't graduate. My son is in college now. He may graduate, right? Because he knows your gauge, your catalyst, because of the way I've raised him and I've trained him, and I got that from the previous generations, right? Your simple job is to be better than me. And if every generation is building on the next, then we're building something. But I'm not throwing away what saved me. And those previous generations, the things they taught me, 9 times out of 10, when I made my mistakes, I said, damn, I should have just listened.
Listen. There you go.
I ain't gonna talk too long. I land my plane on I should have just listened. Lord knows I should have just listened.
I
I
was
think
just gonna
every
say, like,
generation has that,
I,
has that mindset.
I can count on one hand how many times my father whipped my ass. And now when he did, I deserved him like a motherfucker. I did wrong. He had talked to me already. He had sat me down, and then I still did what the fuck I was gonna do. And then finally he whooped my ass. But
So
I can count him on one hand.
but
I
that's the
think that we're
learning.
talking more about like that shouldn't be your first go-to.
But
Nobody's arguing for that though. No, I
you
don't
hit
think
it
one.
right on the head. Still, you hit it right on the head. And this is the thing where I work with children. I use my own experience. When the experience I told about my father, that's the only time in my life he's ever whipped me. My mother did most of the whipping, and it was 7 of us. My father whipped me one time, and that's all it took because I understood that I disappointed him. See, that's the thing. The parents of that time, we focused on the children. And like he said, a father is going to have a conversation with his children to be better than him. See these old ugly ass hands? That's what the fathers do. See these hands with all these calluses?
These hands is like I crawled so you could fly. Now
But see, we don't have that
beat you.
conversation today. We don't have that conversation today.
And Trey, like I think that you weren't on when I said this earlier. Like my sons, they're more scared of disappointing me than a whooping. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I heard you.
When they walk, let's say for example, they already know I know, but like I'm always, because I'm a stay-at-home mom, long story short, I always greet my children when they come home. And they'll walk up and it could be one of them. Be like, I'll be like, how was your day? And they be like, it wasn't good. I'm like, I already know, let's sit down and talk about it. They're more scared of being disappointed, for disappointing their mother through their actions than they are ass whooping. Like literally, like they
do
burst
worry
into
about daddy
tears.
ass whipping.
No, they burst into tears because they don't want to disappoint their mother. Because I know me, I can say that I'm raising them as fine young men. Fuck that, I can give myself that credit. So when they come home and they know that something went wrong, even if it wasn't their fault, they still feel disappointment. And sometimes I even have to tell them, don't be disappointed. You defended yourself, or you were right. It's okay. We good. And then there's
That's
other
the
times
only
I'm
thing
like,
I'm
well,
saying though.
no, you probably could have handled this a different way. Let's talk about it, so that way the next time it happens, you can handle it better.
But sis,
But they're more
knowing
scared of the disappointment than the ass whooping.
knowing y'all though, right? Knowing that family, being an AAU coach and dealing with that, and knowing these boys, I can tell you, it breaks their heart when they disappoint mommy. But I'm not playing with daddy. I'm not playing with him. Like he'll put hands on me. You know what I mean? Like, and that is a motivating factor that for a lot of
Can I?
lucky kids keeps them out of trouble.
But can I be completely honest with y'all? I think that they fear me and my disappointment more than their father.
My wife would say
Not because
the
he's
same thing.
not a disciplinarian, not because he don't handle his business. I'm not saying that, but just because I'm their mother.
No,
So who wants to
My
disappoint
wife
their
would
mother?
say the same thing, sis.
but
We
a
got to
son,
have a
listen,
marriage corner
it's
hour
different.
one day.
Sons are different. Sons are different. I'm telling you, sons with a father, and that's the beauty of being able to being raised by a father from birth. A father, he doesn't even have to do as much talking as a mother. He can walk in the room, he can say, hey, the whole house will get quiet.
And they get to
My
explain.
father used to lay on the couch in his boxers with his shit hanging out. I used to be like, man, I'm a man, boy. It's my damn house. I'm telling you, it's a whole different move. And this is the dynamic that a lot of youth don't get to experience. When you growing up with a man who love you because he can look at you like, that's my damn son, he's going to teach you differently as you get older. When you turn 13, what are you going to do? Get your ass out there and help me mow this lawn and paint this, climb up on that damn and get that out of the gutter. And you looking like, I don't want to do it, but go ahead and do it.
And I see it from my work. I see how much better my son is than me. I see it from my work.
We got 15 minutes left. I wanted to cover one more topic before we go into this, wind it down. So, being that we've gone through all the different generations, and we look at the current state of society now and the young adults being Generation Z, and we see how they move and how they get down, and we look at the current state of them. Do you all agree that us as the two generations before, making us their parents, our generations before are their parents, that we have failed this new generation by how they hold themselves, how they carry themselves, how they act in public, the whole nine?
I'm a
Are
Shikari.
are you
I'm a
talking? Can I clarify because you kind of went out a little bit? Are you talking about you guys being the baby boomers and Generation X, failing
No,
the millennials, and
no,
or are you
I'm
talking
saying
about Generation X and the
Generation
millennials?
X and the millennials. The Generation
Okay,
X and the millennials, we are the parents for the
okay.
vast most part of Gen Z. There are some anomalies, but for the some old
For the
people getting
most part,
pregnant at like 60 years
right,
old, which
right,
is rare,
right.
which that's rare, but
We are
overall,
raising sexy red nation.
right.
I'm with you.
Right, right. We are the parents. The Z, not Z, was it is Z. X and Y are raising Z. We are the parents of the sexy reds, and just not just even targeting
No,
pigeons or
I'm not
anything
the
like that.
parent of Sexy Red because Sexy Red is borderline
We said
Well,
sexy red
Yeah,
nation.
I was
but
gonna
you got
say I'm
no,
not the
no, no,
We
no,
parent
no,
of
talking
no,
about
no,
sexy
no,
all
red.
the
no, no,
children
no, no.
our
Hang on,
baby's
hang on,
age who listening.
hang on. I'm not
my
speaking
kid. My oldest
personal.
kid age
I'm
is
not
20,
speaking.
not damn near
That's
30.
that's the age range, 20. That's the age range. My son is 26. That's Generation Z. But when I say millennials, because what is it, 2024? So there are still 40-year-olds, 41-year-olds that are millennials. You see what I'm saying? So there are 40-year-olds that have 20-year-old kids. So that's what I'm saying. I'm speaking in general. This is not. I'm not
I get
pointing
what
no.
your generality is. I just don't think that it's our fault that is going on more so than
Yeah, it
your
is.
fault
It
and
is.
the baby boomers before.
No,
See,
no,
like
Give
I'm
your
just
no,
rubbing it
answer.
off
no,
on y'all. I'm like,
no.
I don't
He
think that's
just
our
put the
fault at all.
question out there.
So,
It's your
so,
fault, man.
I want to answer.
I want to answer too. So I think, and this is me being all honest. I think unfortunately those are the years where we had a lot of absence of fathers in the home, and yeah, we generated we might it not maybe not all of us, but a lot of us did generate that population. So yeah, I do believe that to a certain extent that Gen X is responsible for it because I can point out plenty of friends that I had growing up, and they have 10 grandkids. And here I am, I have 3 children, and they're all young. You know what I mean? So nobody stopped the cycle, if that makes sense. They didn't
Mm-hmm.
stop the cycle. So they continue to have children out of wedlock at a young age, 16. Like I said, I have a very, very good friend of mine. She is the same age as me. I am 47. She has 10 grandchildren. Here I am. I have 3 children, 12, 11, and 4.
I
So
like
did she stop
I
the
like that.
cycle? She didn't stop the cycle. So in those instances, I can say, yeah, we fucked that part up. So I'm not gonna sit here and act like Gen X is the shit and we didn't do nothing wrong. Yeah, we dropped the ball on quite a few things.
We the baby
But
daddy and baby mama generation. We
Yeah, I
dropped
mean,
the
remember
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
you do
yeah,
remember
Negro
Yes, y'all
generation.
are. Y'all
y'all do
better
remember
hold
the
that
Gen X
out. Y'all better
is
hold that
the latchkey
trophy.
kids, right? Right.
Yeah, we
Like
the latchkey
Right, right,
kids.
right.
We
remember,
started the
like
latchkey kid.
some of the kids didn't stay home. Some of the kids did open the doors. Some of the kids, like, let's get real.
But the
Some
crack era,
did. Some did.
let's be real, crack changed the game. All of
Yeah,
this
It
shit
did.
was working just fine until crack came in and took the mothers out the home. A lot of mothers was using drugs. A lot of women started using drugs during that time and left the children vulnerable. That's why we got this influx of the alphabet
Grandmamas,
adults today.
right? Grandmamas was
But
raising
even
babies.
as the crack
Yeah.
fiend, mama.
So
Oh,
it just changed the game. It's different, you know. So I can understand why though that 40-year-old are fighters. Y'all been fighting since y'all was kids.
Oh
Y'all
my
had
God,
to fight and
I
survive.
had to
So,
fight.
but the
Oh
problem
my
Yeah, I
is
want to go last.
we got
Go
away
ahead,
from the
Murray.
discipline. No, I'm just saying the problem is we started focusing on self. The hell with them kids is what they do. Not what
yeah.
they say is what they do.
yeah.
We started focusing on self, and now we have the lowest of almost everything that's degenerate. You know what I'm saying? The young men and young women could read in the 60s and 70s and 80s. Don't forget, that was the proudest thing to do is read. Now they can't read. They don't even know how to tie their shoe. I'm working with 8th graders. They don't even know how to tie their shoe. They still walking around with snot in their nose. Who in the hell is raising the kids? Because at some point, a parent gonna look at their kid and be like, blow your damn nose. Get it out
Right.
your nose.
Or
That's what
somebody else, because
parents
that's how
do.
it used to be. The
Yes,
neighborhood state, yeah, there's somebody
yes.
else. But I go ahead,
Yeah. You're
Maurice,
right, brother.
and then Wall Street.
Nah, I ain't got nothing to say. Y'all ran with it, and I ain't got nothing to say.
All right.
What? Lies.
You're not gonna make
Y'all,
it
hold on,
complicated.
hold on. I'm gonna take this moment in time. Y'all went back and forth, talking all over each other and stuff like that. And when I tried to get my piece, I nearly had to strangle somebody. And now y'all wondering how come I got nothing. No, come on. Y'all spoke the whole time.
You got the floor now.
No, I'm good. I'm good.
All right.
Time's fast.
So to
Gotta be a little
Okay, be
faster than that,
succinct.
Maurice. You gotta be a little faster than that, brother.
Be succinct. Be
No,
succinct with it.
there's one
Wall
piece of
Street.
food out there.
Be succinct with your point, please. Wall Street.
yeah, absolutely. So to your original question, did we fail our children? Is that fairly what you were asking?
Yeah, the generation after. Did the generation before fail just current generation?
So before anything, before being a man, before being anything else, I'm black first, right? I think we were put in a trick bag. So I don't want us to get in a negative space where we're looking at our failures. There are a lot of reasons for our failures. The important part is being honest about what works, right? And I think our biggest failure now is we're pretending like we don't know what works. We're pretending like the things we see that facilitate failure aren't right in front of our face. And so then we get stuck in stupid conversations. So when it comes to what parents fail their children, that's all, that's subjective. I'm a part of a generation that failed their children. I ain't failed mine though. Mine in private school, right? But at the same time, though, I can still put myself in the group of parents that are raising all of these kids. And if I can be honest about that, yes, we are letting our babies down. Not necessarily totally our fault. Some of the things are beyond our imagine. The important part is we need to start figuring this out. And I held back that curse, this stuff out. We need to start figuring this stuff out right now and be honest about where we are, what works, what we've seen work, and what's failing us. The honest truth is, most conversations in the black space, I find a lot of condoning the things that we know for a fact on a large scale fail us every single time.
Right on.
I'll land my plane there.
All right, Miss Fields, you had something to say?
I'm sorry I dropped out for a minute. I did catch the last of what he just said, and I completely agree
Oh
with
no,
him.
you went first, I think, didn't you?
Ferg was with me. Ferg, you was with me, Ferg.
No, I think Miss Field answered the question first, and then Maurice he chose to concede his time.
Oh,
So
he did. That's a new one.
right. Oh, that's what you look like. I never seen him before.
All right,
And
can
he
I
out
have
of
my turn or
Tennessee.
you gonna skip me
No,
again? Like you do
no,
every
you,
episode.
you said you want to go last, so I'm finna go so you can go last. I heard you say, "Oh, you
Yeah,
want to go last."
I'm just saying,
All right,
because
okay.
you be skipping me.
So me, I say that yes, in a general sense, yes, we failed them because even though with all the degeneracy that we see now, all the degeneracy, we had the same degeneracy, but we still understood a certain level of class. You know what I mean? Like, because we had to pop that music, and we was out there booty shaking and all of that, but we wasn't going to the club basically nude. You know what I mean? We still had respect for our elders. We weren't cussing out our elders in the grocery store. We that you know what I'm saying? That just certain levels of general respect and etiquette is and self-respect because you self-respect is the main thing that I think that me personally and whoever watching, this just my opinion, take it how you want. I don't think a lot of these kids now have self-respect because you wouldn't like there ain't no way that I respect myself and I'm finna go out and cuss out the person behind the counter because they messed up. And I mean cuss them out bad and want to fight and and record it and put it on the internet for everybody. You see how I beat that bitch? No, that wasn't us. We weren't that. We still had yes, ma'am, no, ma'am. We all that type of respect. And we understood that respect was earned. So we understood by us doing that, we expected to receive that respect back. Respect wasn't something that came with violence and ignorance. And I'm gonna land my plane there because I don't want to go long either. Morphine.
Um, hold on, wait. As soon as you said something to me, I got a crazy text. All right, so I will say this: my generation, the millennials, if we have Generation Z kids and not Alpha, that means we had our children very, very early. I'm not talking about 16, 17 early. I'm talking about 13, 14 early. Like we had our children particularly early if we have any Generation Z kids. I'm just going to say that. Yeah, I'm 35, so if she was 40, then maybe she made it to 19,
Look,
maybe.
if
But
my
I'm just saying we going through how it is on the chart. Chart ain't gonna lie. If you had a kid and you my age and your kid is 20, 21, 19, 18, you had that very, very young. That is what it is. Moving on.
like I said, it starts at 1981. Person born in 1981 is like 40, 41, 42, 42 or something like that.
I said my
43.
age.
But
You
I'm
my
talking about
age.
millennials. I'm talking about millennials. But
I
yeah,
said
go
if
ahead.
you're my
He
age,
ain't
like
his babies though.
you
I'm
Hey,
his.
this
still a
baby.
baby, right? Like you
Yeah.
still a baby having a baby. So you trying to like avoid saying that? Okay, let's move on. So, with that being said, we are the generation that had to live through the crack area. We are the generation that had to live through the coke area that changed into the freaking crack area, the crack era. So a lot of us survived our childhood. A lot of us survived our early adulthood. And what we taught our children is how to survive in all of this. And I never really hung around people my age. And when I did, it was like a culture shock. I tell you that I did not know they talk to their kids like that. I did not know they communicate to their children like that. You had two different ones. You had the millennials that was old school, and you had the millennials that would raise a sexy red. So there's that. Um, and I ran into a lot of the ones that would raise a sexy red. And it wasn't just like that generation. That was like generation. No, I will say that with millennials, it will show you how her mama was. You would know if it's a bad orange or a bad grape. That shit came from 3 or 4 generations deep. It's just not two. It's deep. So it really comes out in us. I will say that more so than what y'all kind of seeing on social media now. I think that's just a reflection of how the hell us millennials raise their asses. But anywho, I will say that that's what we did wrong for the generations after. We just raised them in survival, and in our survival, a lot of us came bitter, a lot of us became angry, a lot of us became rebellious. like emphasis on rebellious. So whatever is right is wrong. Whatever is up is freaking down. Whatever is orange, that motherfucker's white now. So is that. And it's, I would say, something along what Wall Street said, where you could kind of take a little bit of accountability out of it because of the survival that we lived in. But we also watched the world change before our very freaking eyes as we was growing up. We watched the payphones get taken off the streets. Like, we watched the world change. So we know how to adapt to change. So I don't think we got the excuse that maybe baby boomers or Generation X have of ignorance, because we don't have ignorance as an excuse, because we seen better and we watched the change. We could have changed, but we were angry and stuck in survival, and we raised some real evil kids. Like, we raising some real psycho killers for the first time in history. They finally noticed that gangbangers are serial killers. They never thought about that ever in life. But our children are finally pitted on the map that, hey, yo, little Bam Bam was killing since he was 16 and now he's 34. He was always a serial killer. Like, they being classified as what they should have been for the first time. Anyway, but shit, our generation brought forth with ADHD and all types of shit. Like, we brought forth them labeling bad behavior as something psychological you cannot fix.
But that
So
was because of chicken pox, though. Like
ah,
nobody had autism while we still had chicken pox. And once we got rid of chicken
Don't
pox,
start that, man. You're gonna
now
shut
all
this
the
channel
kids
down.
is autistic. That's
Yo,
for
I ain't
another
trying
show.
to look. I ain't trying to be
And
funny.
on
Look,
that
real
note,
quick.
and on that note,
Look, no, wait, real quick,
Tim Dog.
real quick. Only because you brought it up. I got 3 kids. My eldest is 12. I ain't seen a kid with chicken pox.
Come on,
Now I
sis.
remember back in the days, as soon as somebody got chicken pox, your mama sent them to play with them so you can get it and get it
Hey,
over
yo,
with.
sis, don't give away next week. That's for next week. We gotta wrap
Oh, okay.
this
I
one
didn't know
up,
that was for
sis.
next week. My bad. My bad. I didn't
we had
know.
202. We
you
had
know they use the
202.
varicella vaccine now, right?
Huh?
We not going,
Yo, listen, man. When we had
Maurice.
chicken pox, it
What you
wasn't
about to
no
say? I
autism.
was gonna
That's
say, but
all I'm
we
saying.
gonna let them get away with murder right now. We gonna let them. We
Okay,
gonna let them.
okay,
We
okay.
gonna let them live, baby. We
Once
gonna let them
chicken
live.
pox was gone, we got
All right,
autism.
all right, all right. So anybody want to throw out their plug their channel or anything like that before we close it down?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Come check me out at Max C Studio Music on YouTube. Come check out my songs. Let me know how you feel. Like, subscribe, do that YouTube thing.
Yeah, I
Your
mean, it's
boy
true.
Wall Street Willie. My bad, Big Ferg. You wanna go?
No, go ahead, man. Go ahead.
Because my page ain't even up yet. But I'm getting ready to get mine started. It's gonna be called the Wall Street Willie World Report. I'm gonna cover 3 topics each day, and it's basically gonna be giving you world news in a way you can understand. And that's gonna be for my people.
That sounds like
Salute.
some shit. I like that. I like that idea.
Now you can just check me out at Trey Ferg at the Player Coach. On my channel, I just break stuff down. I don't do too much fighting, and I just love coming up on other people's channels and fighting, and just trying to pass some wisdom down, man. We're in a bad place right now, and I hope that for some reason, I hope, you know, whether we in whatever generation, we got to find a way to fix it, because right now, over the next 15, 20 years, shit, all y'all kids can be back out on the fields, whether
Mm.
you like it or not. So it is what it is.
All right, Miss Fields, you got any signing out you want to do?
Just real quick, every Thursday night, 8:30 Eastern time. Check us out on Soul Flow Conversations. I am the co-host. I am not the host, but I am the co-host. We do have great topics, and we're working on becoming better um, to reach the masses and have conversations like we had tonight. So I'm gonna rep my Soul Flow Conversation tonight.
Right on, right on, right on. So I want to thank everybody that tuned in. I want to thank my panel. You guys were fabulous, and everybody brought some good points, and we had a very enlightening conversation. This is beautiful. We need to do this more often and keep all the bickering and all of that out the way. So until then, until the next episode, ladies and gentlemen, thank you again for tuning in to more Conversations with the Average Black Man.
Yes, sir.